Welcome back to another episode of Alestletics. Sam here and joined by Audrey Orenik. We have a great update for you today. Again, more basketball stuff as basketball kind of approaches the end of their season. But happy Valentine's Day. What a great day, right?
Love is in the air, Sam.
Love is in the air.
To be clear, not between us, but...
Yeah, no. Get that clarification out there right now. What a wild start on this. The funny thing is we're not recording on Valentine's Day.
We're Friday the 13th, so the vibes are completely different.
Yeah. In the booth, it's different. For you, hopefully love is in the air for you on the other side of the headphones, I guess. Well, let's jump into some romantics in SIUE sports, though, because SIUE basketball the men's team has been really on fire recently, and the women's team got a giant win last night as well over a challenging opponent in SEMO. So for both sides, men, they are now 10-5 in OVC, and the women are now 4-11. Again, a big turnaround win for them yesterday, or this would be on Thursday, excuse me. So both teams beat SEMO, and the women beat SEMO 69-61, and the men beat SEMO 74-56. So good wins for both squads, Audrey.
Yeah, so the last game that the women played was against SEMO, and they actually lost 64-56. So for them to come back with revenge for SEMO, I mean, SEMO is one of our competitors in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, competitors.
Our rivals,
yeah.
One of our rivals.
Yeah.
And so to come back, especially since there's so many. Yes.
Yeah.
What a win.
No, it was a good win, and they won at home. I think that was the key. And the last game where they lost on the road.
Was it because Louis was there?
I don't know. I didn't see if Louis was there. Dude, I hope so.
I was going to say.
He had to be. Like, his mom was there, so he had to be. We're going to go with it that he was there, even if he wasn't. That loss to SEMO from the women's team was on January 17th, though. And just in this game, Kyoka Proctor led the team with 18 points, Lauren Miller with 15 points, and Sylvie and Cyan Muhammad had 12 points each themselves. So leaders doing their normal things, and when the leaders lead, usually your team wins. There's a good example of it. An interesting thing for the men's squad, though, they are swept SEMO on the season. We're going to talk a lot about the men's team and who they've played this season coming up in just a few moments, but first, let's focus on this game against SEMO, where Jordan Pickett tied a season high in points in a game with 15, and Sakanis also had 15. So Arnie and Jordan Pickett, who's been kind of quiet this season, he has kind of been under the radar. Doesn't always start the games, usually comes in as a sub, the local here in the Edwardsville region. And so for him to get a season high in a game with 15 points, I think that's important for SIUE. Again, showing the example that without key players, other players are stepping up, finding wins. And that's 30 points between the two of them. It goes a long way. So, leading into SIUE's success against SEMO, they're not the only team that SIUE is dominated against. And to paint this picture for you, so the Cougars have 5 games left on the regular season, and they control their destiny here. Tied for first is UT Martin, who was kind of at the beginning of the season, they were running away with the OVC for a little bit. However, they have been matched with Tennessee State. They are both tied for first. After that, it's where things get really into a traffic jam, sort of say. SIUE is tied for third with their 10-5 record, but so is SEMO, Lindenwood, and Morehead State. So that's 4 teams tied for third with a 10-5 record as of yesterday on Friday. So that is really interesting because that means it's kind of all these last 5 games really matter for each of these teams. Well, you're probably thinking, well, has SIUE done against these teams? And really, for the most part, pretty good. Against SEMO, they have swept that series 2-0. Against Lindenwood, they have swept that series 2-0. The only team they've struggled with in this 4-way traffic jam is Morehead State, where they lost both games. So they got swept. But here's Audrey, this is where it gets really interesting, and why I say SIUE has probably the best control over how the season finishes, right? Because they play both UT Martin and Tennessee State. They have one game against each of those. And I believe it's in the same week. So they go to Tennessee to play both of them. Then they play EIU, who's ranked 8th. They lost to overtime in them. The first game of the season, they lost to overtime to EIU.
Wow.
And that, again, that could be a difference maker going down. So you want to get revenge in that game. Big game there. They are playing Tennessee Tech, who is 9th in the OVC, and they beat them the first time. And then they're playing Western, who's 11th, as we know.
Well, yes.
Well, yes. So, and they did beat Western the first time. So 3 teams that are should be wins. We'll call them should be. Obviously, the Eastern team shown some resilience over the last few weeks as well, as they've kind of risen up from the bottom. And they had that overtime win against the Cougars in their first matchup. But that is really great control. So let's just give the Cougars the 3 wins. We'll say they hypothetically win these 3. That puts them almost tied for first now. That would put them above at first if UT Martin and Tennessee State lose. But SIUE plays both those teams, so they have control to put them at a lower standing than going in. The Cougars could win the OVC conference is what I'm trying to say.
Right. That took a long time to get there.
Yeah, it's a really long-winded route, but yeah, SIUE has really some good control over their destiny, and it'll be interesting to see. But my favorite part is that they did a great job beating teams that were very similar to them, SEMO, Lindenwood, teams that you could tell that it was tough wins, and they didn't have players that helped them win, and they still beat them both times. But I don't know, Audrey, what are your thoughts on the Cougars' path to the playoffs?
I mean, I think it's very possible, even if they're not first in the conference, they still have a shot at the tournament. And we talked about this last week, but like, I think they've got it low key. I mean, I'm not sure it's going to be as extravagant as last year. Yeah. But I think they still have a chance.
Well, it's also about, we mentioned, like, the buys. So first and second get those 2-game buys, which help out a lot. And so the real challenge will be, and I have to double-check myself on this, but I believe if it goes, like, say SIUE, SEMO, Lindenwood, they tie. 3-way tie at the end. We'll just say Moorhead falls off the cliff. But if they tie, I believe SIUE gets the tiebreaker because they beat them twice. If, like, say their overall record is tied, their OVC record is tied, and then it goes to, well, how did they fare in the season? I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. I could be wrong. There's the tiebreaker. It goes out a couple ways depending how knotted up they are. But that's huge. I mean, to me, the beating, and maybe you don't get first or second, but you're going to see SEMO and Lindenwood again. So you know you can beat them. You beat them twice.
Well, yes.
Now, Moorhead State is the interesting one. And obviously, UT Martin, they have not beat those teams yet. And EIU, they haven't beat either. But again, hopefully they can overcome whatever struggle they had at the beginning of the season. So there's only 3 teams that they have yet to beat. And they have a game against 2 of them. So only losing the series to Moorhead State, pretty impressive if you ask me. Not being swept at all but one time. So, which is it's a big deal, I think, for the Cougars, especially as they're defending their OVC championship. But while the season is winding down, it's not over. We got a lot left, hopefully. There's something that we published, my view from the sideline this week, and I'm going to ask Audrey a bit of her opinion on it, about head coach Brian Barone. So there was a story I saw on Twitter about the head coach of SIUE basketball. Apparently there have been silent offers, not necessarily anything pen to paper because they can't do that, but there are college reporters that are saying that he might be getting offers from schools like Butler and other bit bigger schools than SIUE for basketball specifically. Not that SIUE's not a big basketball school. They just haven't been for a while. About him getting like 2 times the salary that he's getting at SIUE. All for their head coach. And again, it's kind of been not a 1 year wonder, but it's been, they haven't been relevant all but 1 year. And it got me to thinking about our head coach and Brian Barone and the success that he's had here at SIUE. I knew he's been successful, but I kind of wanted to do my own research on it to see, what could the offers be for him? So just some background information. Barone is the 3rd coach while Division I here at SIUE and in OVC play. He has 103 overall wins and counting, and he is the 4th SIUE coach and the only Division I coach to win 100 games with the Cougars. He has the most conference wins of all coaches, 58 to 68 OVC record, again, still as counting, and he is in his 7th year, behind 3 others? Yeah, 3 others. So, I mean, really, it's pretty interesting, and again, his resume has spoken for itself. First NCAA trip, first OVC Conference Championship. His contract is expiring at the end of the year, and we have this guy right across the river who's also doing well. It could be a sign of like, oh, well, maybe this guy gets picked up. Who's the next best guy? And I think Barone in the St. Louis region, he has a good argument for other teams to maybe send him an offer. The question is, will he leave? And Audrey, that's where I set this up to you. What do you think?
I mean, it's really hard because you never really know. But me personally, I think he's going to stay just because he's built so much of a family kind of community. And obviously his family lives here. His kids are very involved in SIUE Cougars, stuff like that. I think he's just because he's so involved and he's made like this family culture. I really don't think that he's just going to leave it for another offer.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean,
obviously money is good.
Yeah.
But I think he's very family driven and like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. That's one of my favorite things about Barone is last year, just because his contract is expiring doesn't mean he couldn't have left last year. Mm-hmm. He definitely could have. That's the nice thing about the NCAA for the coaches is they can be bought out and go to a different team at any given moment. And he didn't, and that was kind of shocking to me. There was a lot of murmurs. I was hearing a lot of people being like, oh, he's going to leave, and he didn't. And I could have gone either way on it. I wouldn't have been surprised. Obviously, when you make national headlines with the team, you're probably going to get some national offers. We don't know what he got offered. It's not public information, but he didn't go with it. He stayed here for this season. Now that could be because he has 1 year left. Who knows? Who knows what his decision is? The only person that knows is him and probably his family. So, but I agree with you on the fact that since he's so family driven, I think he will stick around. Not to mention, he could go down. I would say he's in the argument for one of SIUE's best coaches because of the things he's done, but statistically, he's still behind a few. For example, Jim Dudley holds the quote-unquote record for most seasons with the Cougars with 11. I mean, he's really only 4 away from that. 2 more years here, you move up into 2nd place or 3rd place, whatever it is. I mean, and his win totals, he actually is, I think he's like 40 wins away from the most wins as a head coach of the Cougars basketball team. Again, it's doable in a few years. So I agree with you. I think he'll stick around, but I'm kind of worried about hearing the offers, especially after hearing the offers for SLU. I don't know.
I mean, there's always that possibility with money.
True.
You never really know. And he's just so family oriented, and he's created a family not only within the team but the community of SIUE. He's brought the people together in a way which is not something you really see. So I think he's here to stay. Maybe not forever, of course, but at least for the next few years. Yeah, or 2 years, whatever.
Well, he's kind of built up the Cougars too.
Yeah,
he brought them there. They're kind of like his, his legacy a little bit in a sense of hey, I delivered this team to the NCAA conference or to the NCAA bracket. I mean,
he's got to feel proud of
he's got to be happy with the program he's built here. Well, and my concern would be, so if he does leave, obviously, again, there's no confirmation of this. This is all very high speculation. But if he was to be offered and take the offer, who do you fill that? Because he's done such a good job in that time span. And in 7 years, that's very impressive. I mean, looking at SIU's record when he first came on, it was rough. Yeah. It's gone up every year besides one, I think, in wins in both conference and overall records. So, I mean, Barone, you can't say, you can't take anything away from him and how he's built the Cougars program and how they've built it around him, as you mentioned, with the whole family-driven thing. I don't know. It's interesting. Hopefully he sticks around. I'd like to see him kind of break the coaching records,
I agree. I mean, I think he's a wonderful coach, and he's done so much, and I mean, I'm sure everybody would love to see him here.
Yeah, I think so. And the men's basketball team, I thought they would fall back a little bit this year without the play of Rayshon Taylor, and they have not. And not to mention, not only have they played without him, they've played without Ring Malith. And
yeah.
It sounds like they've been beaten up a bit in their season, and it's been impressive. They've had a really
they're resilient.
The resilience on the team is really good, and it shows the culture that Barone's built. Mm-hmm. So maybe the family ties will keep him here longer. We'll see. But if you're interested in checking out the men's game, you can watch it today. They play at 3:30 at First Community Arena against the number 1 team, UT Martin. So go out and cheer the Cougars on as they kind of battle to try to take that number 1 spot away. The women will also play at 1 p.m., just 2.5 hours before them, again against UT Martin. And then to close out the season, so after the games tomorrow, both teams will have 4 games left. They'll go on a Tennessee trip, and they will play the Tennessee teams there, and then they will come home and play both Illinois teams in the OVC conference. So that's Western and Eastern, and that's how they finish out the season. I believe the last game is against Western for both sides. It'll be interesting to see if the women can clinch a playoff spot. They're right on the line, I believe, and the men are battling for the best seed possible in the bracket.
So then we have men's and women's track at the 11th annual Russ Jewett Indoor Gorilla Classic.
What a name.
In Pittsburgh, Kansas.
When I read this, I have to admit, I thought, is this real?
This is my first time reading it, and it's just a bunch of words together.
At first, the annual Russ Jewett Indoor, so it's indoor track, Gorilla Classic, and then it said in Pittsburgh, Kansas, and I thought,
Pittsburgh, Kansas.
This is like a fake headline.
11th annual. Okay, so if you're interested in the Gorilla Classic, I definitely
make a drive out to Kansas.
Yes.
It's not in Philadelphia. Don't go to Philadelphia.
Yeah. So,
Philadelphia. It's not in Pennsylvania. Don't go to Pennsylvania. It's not in Philadelphia either.
Don't go there.
Don't go to Philadelphia, Kansas. Don't go to Pennsylvania. It's Pittsburgh, Kansas. If you're confused.
And then we have softball versus Southeast Louisiana at 3 p.m. and versus Louisiana Tech at 5 p.m. And that is another tournament in
Louisiana. It's a Louisiana tournament. Mm-hmm. So they were 1-4 overall heading into this tournament, and that's from the Fresno tournament, which we talked about last weekend, where they were in California. Man, they kind of go into some fun places.
Yeah,
I think it was called like the Mardi Grande tournament or something. I don't have the name of the tournament in front of me, but it was like
you did.
Mardi Gras something. It was Mardi Gras themed, and I just thought it was funny. I was thinking, like, man, they were in California.
Yeah.
They got their nice tans out in California.
Now they're going to Louisiana.
It's not fair. Women's softball is just like...
They're everywhere.
They're on their own adventure at this point.
And then we have baseball opening up their first game of the season versus North Alabama.
Yeah, so baseball getting things running. And softball, 1-4, not bad in the California tournament. I mean... You hope for better, but at the same time, I think
you gotta do what you gotta do.
It's the opening part of the season,
and it's in California. It's a bunch of different teams that you probably have never played before,
or very often you ever see them. Not to mention the travel. There's a lot of travel on one set of just for one set of games. But that leads into that's SIUE athletics for the day. Obviously, they always have a lot going on Saturdays. I just kind of, it was until just now that I realized that we do so much. Right. But stepping away from the SIUE campus for a bit, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Olympics that are going on in Milan, Italy. And mostly because I wanted to focus on this youth drive in the United States. And it does actually tie to college sports. One of the things I learned in this class I took last semester with President Mahoney, where he talked about college sports, was the growth of revenue-driven sports and now schools stepping away from the Olympic sports like track and field. Now, I understand that not a lot of colleges are offering like skiing and snowboarding, and they're not
curling.
We're not doing that as much, which is probably why we don't do that good in the Winter Olympics.
Right.
But it was a point that I was thinking about because most of our Olympians throughout time have come from college teams, and that's where they've developed. In this Olympics, I was watching a lot of success from Americans under the age of 25, the traditional college age. Half of the United States gold medals at this point of this recording, we have 4 as the United States. In total, 2 of them have been won by someone under 22. I was looking at under the age of 25, and it was like Elizabeth Lemley, who's 20 years old, won gold, and then Jordan Stoltz, who's 21, also won gold. And then I also included Chloe Kim, who's 25. That was the bar I was going for. She won silver. But half of the United States gold medals to this point are won by someone of college age. Not to mention they have players under college age. They have a 17-year-old there this year.
That's crazy.
They didn't win any hardware, but still
17
compete
in the Olympics.
And that's just one. There was a few others as well. And something else I noticed, and obviously everyone knows I'm a big hockey fan, but the USA women's hockey team has 8 players under 25. For perspective, 23 players are rostered, so it's not half, but what I was watching when they played Team Canada in the preliminary rounds, they beat them 5-0, and I was like, that doesn't seem right. And I know the story from coming out from that was that Team Canada has not added youth. A lot of their players have been in like their 8th Olympics or whatever, or 5th Olympics. You know, they've been here for a long, long time. And the United States kind of jumped the ship and they pulled players from college teams, women's college teams, and they dominated. And when I say like 5-0, it was a really good score, but they just like visually, they just outplayed them. They were moving faster. They were clearly athletically just better. And I thought that was really interesting. And it's another interesting topic that we talked about in this class where it's like, should college move away from these Olympic style sports all just for football or basketball? Not that these sports don't matter, but a lot of the United States' Olympians come from colleges. Obviously, the other side of that is like 33-year-olds are typically the ones that compete because they're in the prime of their life. They're the best health and athletic ability and strength, and you'll see a lot of the other medalists were about 30. But I just think it's interesting to see this youth drive. Again, the United States at the point of this recording has 4 gold, 7 silver, 3 bronze, but it changes every hour. It feels like it's probably wrong by the time we're talking about it. And finally, with the Olympics, I wanted to throw this in there. Speaking of the youth, one of the American players on that USA team USA's women's hockey team, Joy Dunn, she's 26, so she barely fell out of my statistic, but she plays for Ohio State University, and she's from O'Fallon, Missouri, as well as the Tkachuk brothers, who were raised in St. Louis, Missouri. They're both NHLers. You may know the name Keith Tkachuk if he played for the Blues. They're his sons. And so they grew up here in St. Louis, and they're playing for Team USA, and Clayton Keller, who grew up in Swansea, Illinois, and also plays for Team USA men's hockey team. So all kinds of connections to the St. Louis region. But yeah, that's my Olympic spiel.
Well, thank you, Sam.
Yeah,
Lots of hockey.
Yeah, there's a lot of hockey. But to be fair, again, a lot of the only really college sport in these Olympics is hockey. I mean, I think some of the, maybe Denver offers some skiing and snowboarding. That's kind of a reach. I don't know for sure. I know Minnesota.
Rose just making stuff up.
No, I'm not making it up. Like some of these schools, like if they don't have a team, they have a club or whatever. So that's where they kind of, and the colleges there, they help train. Like they're involved in the Olympic training. Like Minnesota is another place where a lot of winter Olympic training goes on in the United States. But the colleges, that's where they're coming from, is these schools. So it's interesting. I don't know. We'll see. I think SIUE, what I really appreciate about us is, yes, we value basketball. Yes, we value soccer. Soccer is actually an Olympic sport, so that's actually helpful. Just not the Winter Olympics, but still out there. But we put an emphasis on track and field. You know, the Cougars really do a lot about that. I know wrestling's not really an Olympic sport, but it's a kind of a strength training sport. I mean, if you can wrestle, you could probably do some Olympic sports if you were asked to. And so I think the Cougars do a good job of, yes, we have an emphasis on basketball, and we talk a lot about basketball on the show, but it's really neat to see these other. Tennis is another good one, I know. Again, I don't think it's an Olympic.
Either way, they put a lot of emphasis on all of their teams.
Yes.
Obviously, people are more drawn to basketball because, well, it's basketball. But every one of their sports has their time to shine.
Yeah, really. And that's the other thing is that they succeed at any given moment. It's not always. I mean, tennis is very good a lot of the time, but there's other wrestling this year. A phenomenal season. And at track and field, there's always at least one individual that shines above the rest, you know, in the OVC. So it's really neat to see. And yeah, I just think it's interesting that even teams like, I know obviously SIUE is not sending Olympians to Milan this year, but still to see this growth and the appreciation for Olympic style sports is nice to see. So if you haven't watched the Winter Olympics like I have, well, now you know who to cheer.
What's your favorite sport? Don't say hockey. Say a different one.
In the Olympics?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. I really like skeleton. I think it's fun.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
Isn't it the one where they're on a sled?
Yeah, but they're on their stomachs.
Yeah, and they're head first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Although bobsledding is kind of cool too. Okay, maybe it's just me. I don't know. The United States is falling into a trap because curling is taking over.
I love curling.
I do too. I like it too. But like, why is it everywhere when it has never been everywhere?
I know. I see it like it's all over social media. That's all I'm getting is curling reels, unfortunately. But I actually like it.
I watched the mixed doubles, so the male and female pair when they competed. And their match against Italy was really fascinating. I don't know why. It was the semifinals, and I know they won silver, but still, I was like, dang, I'm proud of these curlers.
These curlers. Right.
And now I saw Snoop Dogg was curling.
Really?
He's been doing like most of them.
I know he's there, but why is he doing it?
I don't know. He's just doing it.
Bro's just doing it.
I mean, you only live once. YOLO.
YOLO. Curl once in your lifetime. Everybody needs to curl.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I don't know why, but after watching it, I really want to try it. Like, I really...
The little broom thing? Like...
Yeah, I want to let go of the rock.
That's it?
Yeah.
I like the sound it makes.
Ooh, yeah, it's got like a hum, you know, as a guy. It's crazy.
And then when it crashes into the other one...
Yeah, exactly. I want to know how they what my favorite part of watching those, like, so I did not know that they got... I think it's 20 minutes at the start of like planning time. So whenever it's your turn, that time goes down. I thought that goes like each, like, I don't know what they're called. They're not periods, but each like set. And it doesn't. It's like for the whole match. So you and I, like, we could sit there and talk for 20 minutes about just one like of the matches of, I think it was best of 8. And it's just like, that's crazy, you know, like you could just sit there and they were talking. I'm like, I'm stressing out. Like, guys, you do not have that much time. Stop yapping.
They just be chatting.
Just throw the rock, you know. Like,
the rock.
But no, it's weird. It's an interesting sport. So yeah, skeleton's fun though.
Skeleton is fun. I've watched a lot of Red Bull people doing it.
Yeah.
But I actually I'm genuinely impressed with the Winter Olympics. Like, usually it's not as hyped up as maybe the Summer Olympics, but it's quite the show this year.
I know. I thought it's been really fun. It's been a bit sensitive because my buddy broke his hand snowboarding a couple, like, last weekend. And so...
his hand?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so it's just been all snowboarding and skiing on TV. He goes, the night I got home from it, what is my family watching? Snowboarding. The next day, snowboarding. I'm like, well, it is the Winter Olympics.
Right. That's all you can really do.
Yeah, there's that, hockey and curling. Like, I don't know what else you're supposed to do. No, that's not true. The speed, I didn't watch any of the speed skating. It is fascinating though. Oh, and like I can't remember what it's like, is it dancing? Not dancing.
The figure skating?
No, there is figure skating, but I think there's another one. Maybe not. Maybe I am thinking of just figure skating, but there's all kinds of like different moves.
Did you see the Minion?
I did not.
There was one of the skaters dressed up like a Minion.
That's awesome. Did they win?
I can't remember.
Gold immediately. I'm sorry.
But I was like, this is 2026. Like,
yeah.
This is like the Olympics back then would not have had a Minion figure skating, bro.
No. They're just playing into the throwback to 2026 meme, I think, at that point.
The 2016?
Or yeah, 2016 meme. That's what I meant. whatever, same thing. It's apparently the same year.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's just there. I don't know. It's been you're right though. It's been a really good Olympic season, and definitely like I've been watching it over a lot of other things, which is kind of shocking. And normally I don't. Normally I'm just like, is Team USA winning? Cool. Off.
But now you're watching.
Yeah, now I'm committed to curling. So you know. Who knew? We all change over the years. Maybe 2016 is a different time period. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's it for our show this week. We will be back next Saturday. We'll have to talk all about basketball probably again. But we'll try to get some other sports going on around SIUE too as baseball and softball heats up. So that means you need to come back and tune in next week to get all those updates. As for now, don't forget you can check us out on Instagram, X, or Alestlelive.com for our stories in the sports section or just news abroad. And you can tune into this podcast on Spotify or YouTube. That's it. Bye.